Could a trade be coming for the New York Knicks? Insiders are reporting that the New York Knicks are already scouring the trade market and they are shopping a player on their roster. We're going to break that down on today's show, but first, make sure you are subscribed to Knicks Now by Chat Sports. We are 103 subscribers away from getting to our goal of 58,000 subs. If you love the Knicks and you want free, informative, entertaining updates every day on your basketball team, hit that sub button right now and help out a diehard Knicks fan. You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for stopping by as we react to the latest trade rumors surrounding this basketball team, and those circle around Jericho Sims at this moment. NBA insider and New York Knicks beat reporter Stefan Bondy of the New York Post has reported that the New York Knicks have began to shop Jericho Sims. He added, it is unclear what the Knicks can retrieve for Sims, but a source close to the matter said a second-round pick was one asked. That is what a team told Bondy what the Knicks were asking for. So the Knicks are looking to get back a second-round pick as Jericho Sims could be traded and has found himself on the outside looking in when it comes to the Knicks rotation. Has been a DNP in 3 straight games, and he has played in just 4 minutes in one of the last 4 games. So he has found himself glued to the bench at this moment. We did break down a report a couple of days ago talking about Ian Begley of SNY. Check him out. Shout out to Bondy. Shout out to Begley. They do great work. Begley reported that the Houston Rockets are a team that has some interest in Jericho. The quote he used was, there are fans inside the building in Houston that are fans of Jericho Sims. So maybe a trade could happen there. We talked about the idea of making a trade for Cam Whitmore as their salaries matched. I don't think that is all that likely, as we talked about on that show. I also don't think it's all that likely that the New York Knicks are going to get much back in a trade for Jericho Sims. I think it is what it is at this point. Jericho Sims is a depth piece. He's an end of the bench guy, and usually when you are trading those players, you're not going to get much back outside of maybe an end of the bench guy or maybe a future second-round pick, as that is what Bondy reported that NBA teams have been told the Knicks would like. Jericho Sims is what he is. He's a guy who is extremely athletic. He is someone that's going to give you some dirty work around the rim. He could box out. He could set some good screens. But as you see, the numbers are not all that pretty. We just understand what he is. 4 rebounds, 2 points. He can give you some juice on defense, has some switchability on the perimeter, not afraid to lay a hard screen or box out and catch a backside lob. But in my opinion, he is very replaceable. And I don't think he's someone that you should be holding on to just to hold on to. So if you can get a trade that you like, I think you should pull the trigger. He's going to give you energy and effort. That is his calling card. That is the way he makes his money in the NBA. He's going to go out there and play hard, and he's going to go out there and bring some energy to a bench unit. He's willing to do the dirty work. He's willing to set those screens. He's willing to box out. He's willing to foul people hard, and he's willing to do things that a lot of people aren't. He's also a really elite athlete. One of his best traits, in my opinion, is being a hard roller out of a screen because he can cause a defense to crash due to his athleticism being a lob threat. But once he gets the ball in those situations, it usually ends up in a turnover for the New York Knicks. He is essentially a nothing burger on offense. You're playing 4-on-5. He can catch a weak side lob, that's for sure. But if you pass him the ball and he doesn't have an immediate dunk, nothing good usually happens. Has no touch around the rim. Not a good facilitator. Doesn't have any sort of push shot in his game. He just is really what he is. And he's not a bad third center. Like, I know it probably seems like I hate Jericho Sims after this video, as I've just been ripping him, talking about what he can't do on the floor. The things he does do, though, like we just showed you, are the qualities of a third center. Right now, though, he's really the Knicks' second center, as Mitchell Robinson is hurt, and Precious Achiuwa at 6'8" is being forced to play inside that role. So I think if you're going to trade Jericho, you need to at least get something back that can produce. And with him being on the books for $2.1 million, you're not going to get all that much back in a trade. As we know, thanks to the new CBA in the NBA, the worst CBA in all of sports, the Knicks have to trade more money going out than they can accept because they are hard capped by that second apron. They cannot exceed that, and since they are hard capped due to the Mikal Bridges trade, they cannot accept more money back in a trade. So you would have to accept a player that makes $2 million. And there's not really many difference makers out there, and I don't think any team's trading a difference maker for Jericho Sims. Can the Knicks afford, though, to trade Jericho for a second-round pick. This is a guy that had to be a spot starter for the Knicks just a couple days ago where he played 29 minutes and grabbed 10 boards where Karl-Anthony Towns got hurt. And knock on wood, if Towns did get hurt, Jericho would have to see a lot more minutes go his way, and that would be worst-case scenario. It would also be even worse if Jericho couldn't play, and then you'd have to rely on just Ariel Huckporty and Precious Achiuwa, who Huckporty would be better. I guess what I'm trying to say is, can the Knicks afford to give up a player at a spot that's weak and low in depth in center to acquire maybe a pick that doesn't help you in that department? I'm not so sure. What do you think? Do you think the Knicks should trade Jericho Sims? Maybe he's a part of a bigger package. Maybe they're just looking to get some second-round picks back. I don't know. What do you think? Type T for trade, type K for keep. I feel pretty confident in saying this, though. I think Leon Rose knows a move needs to be made for this basketball team. Every starter for the New York Knicks this year is inside the top 10 players of minutes played. That's just not sustainable. That's not something you want to roll the dice on. These guys are picking up a lot of mileage early on in the season. There's been some games where they've come out flat. The Knicks need another rotational piece that can contribute to winning. Maybe Leon Rose knows that, and maybe Leon Rose also knows that the team is what it is this year and that a trade may not be coming. The Knicks spent a lot of their assets. They almost emptied the entire piggy bank of assets making a trade for Bridges and making a trade for Towns. They don't really have much to trade anymore. Maybe that causes them to wait till the offseason where they can maybe sign a player or two in free agency with some mid-level exceptions or taxpayer exceptions or something along those lines, and maybe a trade there. This is your team for the foreseeable future. The championship window has started. Maybe another move to really dive into that championship window may not be coming for this team because I think they do need it, and I'm not sure how they're going to pull that off. Coming up next, we got to talk about the Knicks losing to the Pistons last night. Another one of those losses that leaves you scratching your head about this basketball team and asking yourself, are they a legit contender? They sure did look like one when they beat the Bucks by 34 points, but they also looked like an inconsistent team, which they largely have been this year as they could not close the door on the Detroit Pistons, and you had clutch time turnovers from Brunson and Cat. That in a second. First, though, I got to tell you about our proud sponsor, Game Time. If you're looking to get tickets to an NBA game, maybe you want to go to a Knicks game, maybe you want to go to a college football game, or you want to go to an NFL playoff game, you can get the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed with our proud sponsor, Game Time. Prices drop as the events get closer. They actually specialize in that. So that's a reason that I love this app. And it's really easy to use. You get to see your seat view inside the app. You get to access your tickets from your phone. Easy to get into the stadium. And it's easy to resell your tickets if you don't want to go to the game anymore. And if you use our promo code, that's ChatSports, ChatSports, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. Lowest price guaranteed. That's all you can ask for in a ticketing app. They're also going to give you, though, all-in pricing. That way the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees when you get to checkout. And that Game Time Picks feature is going to make it that much more easy to go see your favorite team, players, or celebrities or artists perform. So check them out. Download the app. Create an account. Use that promo code ChatSports. That's ChatSports for $20 off first purchase where terms do apply. What time is it? It's game time. All the information is clickable in the comments and the description. When you look at the raw numbers here, the Knicks having 6 more assists than Detroit. They shot 40% from 3, ended up 50% from the field. The Knicks probably should have won this game. You beat them on the glass in totality, even though they did beat you on the offensive glass, and I think that was a major reason why the Knicks were unable to pull away in this game and why they forfeited a lead in that third quarter. But the Knicks also had way too many turnovers in the game last night. The Knicks were credited with 17 turnovers. When you get beat on the offensive glass and you turn the ball over 6 more times than another team and they shoot 4% better than you from 3, I bet it's probably a 5% chance that you win that basketball game. And that sucks because the Knicks had a lot of people play really good games. I mean, you score 119 points, you also give up 124. You're not going to win many games in this league. Brunson was really good in this ball game. 50% from the floor. Couldn't buy a bucket from 3. Missed a couple of big ones in that fourth quarter. But down the stretch where it was money time and the Knicks had to have it and they couldn't make mistakes and they had to be perfect because they dug themselves in a hole, Jalen Brunson was unable to do so. Having a late fourth quarter turnover where he tried to throw a pass from side to side above the arc to Karl-Anthony Towns, and it was deflected by a sore Thompson. Then it goes off Towns' arm, and that was a turnover. Then the Knicks got another stop, and they had another chance. And then Karl Anthony Towns was called for a moving screen. There's only so many stops that you can ask this team to pick up in the final minutes, and they squandered 2 of them with turnovers from their top 2 players. Jalen Brunson with 1, Karl Anthony Towns with another, and that's just another reason you weren't able to close this one out. You also couldn't guard Malik Beasley, who hit 2 clutch threes in the final moments. The Knicks got caught in rotation on defense. They were picking on Jalen Brunson. Cade Cunningham was awesome. And once Cade put it on the deck and they got that switch of Brunson, the Knicks were in scramble mode on defense, and they made the exact same play, the exact same rotation, and took the exact same shot and had the exact same result at the end. Back-to-back wide open threes for Detroit from Malik Beasley, who is now like 15 of 19 in 2 games from 3 against the Knicks. And then he goes around the Garden floor sending kisses to the Garden faithful. All my homies hate Malik Beasley. Mikal Bridges had a good game. Sucks you lose this one. You're not supposed to lose games where Bridges scores 27 points and shoots 75% from 3 and 9 of 13 from the field. He hit clutch shot after clutch shot after clutch shot in that fourth quarter, keeping this team alive, but they were unable to punch the victory card. Josh Hart said after the game that we're losing games we're not supposed to lose, and essentially made it clear that everyone's got to do better. We got to be on the same page, and we got to stop making simple mistakes. OG Anunoby is really, I felt disinterested. The last couple of games, I tweeted out, and maybe it wasn't fair after the game, that I feel like Josh Hart has been talking about OG Anunoby when it comes to having an ego and having an agenda. But there was a clip late in that game where Jalen Brunson looked like, and multiple other people on Twitter, shout out to JD of Knicks Fan TV, talked about it. He posted on Twitter, check him out, that Jalen Brunson was asking for a switch in that final possession. And I don't know if OG didn't hear him, OG waved him off, but he stayed still, and it resulted in back-to-back buckets for them. I thought his defense was poor on Cade Cunningham. The entire Knicks defense was poor on Cade Cunningham. I know he's great, but at the end of the day, he lit you up, and the Knicks are supposed to have 2 defensive wing stoppers, and they didn't do anything. You just weren't good enough to win the game. And you played with your food, and the basketball gods made you pay. You were able to get stops, but you weren't able to finish on the offensive end. So another loss for the Knicks. They got to get back on track. And they'll try on Wednesday against the Sixers. Then they got the Timberwolves, then the Hawks, then the Nets, then the Kings, and the Grizzlies, and the Nuggets. Not an easy stretch. It'll be one that tests this team. And we're going to see how they roll out of it and how they continue to play. We're going to need them to play some big hoops if we want to see this team do the things we think they could do. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG @MarshallGreen_.